I'm about to go out and do a real estate video shoot for a client, and I thought, why not make a video on 5 tips on how to improve your real estate videos. First tip before I actually head out and actually shoot the video is actually talking about what gear we need. So what gear do you need to actually start real estate video? So I'm going to be going over everything I'm actually going to bring with me on my shoot and what I'm actually going to use and what I think is essential in real estate videography. So the first thing I'm going to be bringing is obviously my camera, which is the Canon EOS R, and I'll be using the Canon EF 16-35mm f4. The reason why I'm using this lens is because I really need that 16mm focal length. But however, you don't need a full frame camera or anything. You can have an APS-C camera, it doesn't really matter as long as it shoots like 1080p or 4K video with 60 frames per second. I think that's fine. But if you are shooting on an APS-C camera, then you're going to have to go for like an 11mm or a 12mm because you've got the crop factor time. So if you're shooting on a 16mm, it more likely be like a 20 to 24mm. So that's why I'm using this lens. You can, and it's probably better to be using an f2.8 lens. However, this lens has image stabilization and the other f2.8 lenses don't, unless it's the RF 15-35, which is ridiculously expensive. So I think the f4 is fine for me. I don't mind upping my ISO too much when I'm in like a dark room. Also, the fact that it can zoom into 35mm, you might actually be able to get some creative shots as well. So like isolating a certain subject, so it's not just the same wide angle the whole time. And that's also why I'm bringing the 50mm f1.8. One, because obviously that f1.8 aperture, so if I do want to get into a really dark room and I want to get a unique shot of something like a main selling point, then I'll use this 50mm to get that compression just to isolate the subject from the background, so it does make it a lot different than a 16mm does. And then the other main crucial part, probably the most crucial part about all of this, to be honest, is my gimbal. So this is the DJI RSC2 gimbal, and this is really important because obviously the stabilization. Even though this lens has image stabilization, my camera doesn't, and I just can't get this smooth shots handheld. And it's really important for real estate videography to get silky smooth shots, because at the end of the day, the real estate agent is trying to sell the house, so they want to get some really nice smooth shots, so it's not jittery and it's not going to affect the viewer's like view of it or anything when they're watching the video. They actually want it to be sold, so they don't want to be taken away from the house. They're just looking at the house. They don't want to be like, oh, that's a bit of a jittery shot here. So you really need to get some silky smooth footage when shooting real estate videos. So DJI RSC2, I don't think it matters what gimbal, as long as it's like a 3-point axis gimbal, then it doesn't really matter, and one obviously that can actually handle the weight of your camera and your lens. And then also with the gimbal, I'm going to be using this small rig side handle, and you'll actually find that out now. The reason why I'm using this small rig side handle is because another really important thing I think for real estate video, it's not necessary, but for me I think it is a camera monitor, and this is the FieldWorld F6 Plus. This is mainly because I'm going to be shooting like a vertical style video for them for like TikTok and that. And the one annoying thing about the DJI RSC2 is that the actual arms and the axis motors get in the way of the LCD screen at the back. And obviously you can't flip it out either because it's vertical as well. So I can't really see it, and it does block my view, and I really do want to actually see what I'm framing. Not only that, because this is a 5.5 inch screen, you can really see like so much better with this camera monitor as well, just because it's a bigger screen. Like you can frame it so much better, and it's right next to me on my gimbal instead of trying to struggle to look at the small LCD screen. It's also really good for exposing the shots as well, using false colors and histograms and waveforms. So if you really do learn this, you can expose the image perfectly as well as frame it perfectly as well. And then I'd say the last probably thing that I'm going to be bringing, and probably another really important thing what every real estate agent is after, is actually using my drone. Now, getting drone shots of the actual exterior of the house, showing the surrounding area, showing how big the actual property is from the front garden, the back garden, the drive, everything. It's really important to get a unique perspective with a drone as well, just to show off how big the actual house is if you shoot in like a really expensive house. So getting an actual good drone, this is the DJI Mini 2, it can shoot 4K video as well, so you can get some really nice quality out of this drone. It's got a cine mode as well on the remote, so you can get some real nice silky smooth footage. It's really stable in the air, so if it is a little bit windy outside, then don't worry, because it will stay still. It won't like judder around and get some shaky shots. So it's really silky smooth. But at the end of the day, that's everything that I'm going to be bringing with me on this real estate shoot. I have actually got to leave in a minute, so yeah, once I've actually filmed everything like that and edited, we'll get back here and actually go over the other 4 tips on what I think you need to make better real estate videos. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Tip number 2 for improving your real estate videos is by shooting in 60 frames per second. So shooting in 60 frames per second will actually increase the smoothness because you're slowing it down to slow motion. Even if it is on a gimbal, it still could be a little shaky depending on how you move. So by shooting in 60 frames per second will really allow you to get that buttery smoothness when filming each room. The last thing you want is for the viewer to lose focus and actually get taken out of the video because they notice some shake. Right then, so tip number 3 is actually overshoot. Not to the point where you have like 2 hours of footage for a 90-second video, but what I actually mean by overshoot is actually overshoot rooms. So don't just get 2 angles of a room and think that's enough for you to actually cover you. Explore more options like a low angle shot, a higher angle, a pushing shot, a panning shot, a shot leading into a transition, or use different lenses to actually get a different perspective of the room you're actually shooting. This will leave you with so many options in post when you're actually choosing clips of a room, and you're not limiting yourself to only a few clips because you actually might not like one angle, or one shot could be a little shaky and overexposed. Using different lenses also breaks up the edit of just the same wide angle shots over and over again, and it actually makes the edit more fresh. It also brings out your creativity and will give you more ideas of different unique shots to get of the room, so your video becomes a lot more creative instead of just a generic video. The worst feeling would be getting back to start your editing and realising the shots you got of the living room were a little bit shaky or boring, and wishing you just got a few more angles. Right, so moving on to tip number 4 is actually in the editing process now, and that is by using unique transitions. Using transitions instead of just cutting to the next clip, either it's to the music or not, will just give your video a breath of fresh air, and it will be the most interesting and noticeable part of the video. This transition I'm about to show you now actually requires really good framing and speed ramping, so I'll actually show you how to do it right now. Alright, so this is the actual transition they're actually going to be creating now, and I'll actually show you how you do it. So as you can see, it's a really cool and seamless transition, and the way you do it really is actually quite simple. So I've got both of the clips here, DaVinci Resolve, and then basically the first thing I want to do, as you can see, as it's because it's moving to the right and the transition I've moved to the left, so the first thing we really want to do is change clip speed and then click reverse speed. So that's the first thing, because obviously we want to go from right to left to be able to work with the transition. So what you do, once you've done that, I like to, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, if you're shooting in 60 frames per second, it's actually slow it down so it's actually in slow motion. So you do that. So here we go, we've got the clip in slow motion. Now what I like to do, I'll probably want to start the clip here, and then that's when I cut that down, and then you find the spot probably around there that you want to speed ramp. So actually I'm going to lower that down a little bit. So this is what I actually want to speed ramp. So what you do, you click on the actual clip and then you click Command R. This brings up the actual speed ramping point here. So what you do, you click on this point here and then click Add Speed Point. Now all of this here going into this wall you want to speed up. Now what I do, I click on this here and then click Change Speed, and then I actually do 800 speed. So as you can see, it's really quick. Like, look how small this time frame is. So it's really quick. But this is when you bring this clip into play. So you bring this clip over, and again it's starting there. So because I'm starting there, it is very similar, like the actual colour of it. So this is why it works quite well. And what I do again, that's not slowed down, so I'll go change clip speed and then click 50% to slow it down to slow motion. And then I'll find the point where it comes just out of into focus. So I'm going to make this a lot longer because I don't know why it's so short. So I make this a lot longer. So probably just before it comes into focus here, this is where I want the point. So again, I click on it and click Command R, and then again you click here and then click Add Speed Point. And now this bit here, you change the speed to 800%. Now, as you can see, when you actually play these clips back, it is a really nice transition. So that's actually how you do this cool transition, and it just makes it look so seamless. That's actually how you do this transition, and I really do think it really does add everything to your actual real estate video and really does spice things up. And I would say if I didn't have any of these transitions in this video, the video would nowhere near be as good. To go that extra step as well, you can actually add a sound effect to it as well, just to really make it stand out. Now just have a look at this first clip of it cutting together to the beat of the music. Compared to the same clip but using this unique transition. And massive differences in there. You don't want to overuse it though, because it then actually loses its touch. Now moving on to tip number 5 is actually to cut out any of the fluff. It's great and important to shoot everything in the house and what the house has to offer. You never really know what a seller or an agent actually might want to be included in the video. But if you only have a time scale of not 90 seconds to actually fit the whole house in, then you really want to actually be focusing on the parts that actually sells the house the most. So showing a shot of the living room area with the stairs in the background is fine, but using like 2 to 3 seconds of you actually going up the stairs, I think is a complete waste of time. The shot before showed the viewer whereabouts the stairs in the house are, and that's really all they need to know. But showing the stairs in its own clip when it has already appeared in a previous one is just wasting valuable time when you can actually be showing off a unique selling point of the house, or more footage of the garden for example. By only showing the main selling points of the house, you just will improve your video so much. Bonus tip. For whoever stayed till the end, thank you, and you actually get a bonus tip for actually doing so. And that is actually not to panic and just have fun. Even if shooting the house might seem it's really going bad or you're forgetting the most important things, just relax, don't panic, and get the shots you need. Even if you think after the shots are not good, just wait and judge them when you're actually editing the video, because as soon as you find frames you like, when they're actually slowed down and cut to the beat or transitioned well, you actually realise you had nothing to worry about in the first place. Editing is where the magic happens, and remember, you're doing this because you love it. You love filmmaking and you love using your camera, so just have fun and enjoy yourself. Anyway, that's the end of the video. If you want to actually go buy any of the gear that I've mentioned in this video for your next shoot, it is all linked in the description below. Also, if you found this video helpful, why not consider subscribing to see more videos like this in the future, and why not consider leaving a tip to help support the channel. It really does help me out, and it really does help the channel out, and it will be appreciated so much. However, there's no pressure, it's entirely up to you and completely optional. Thank you very much for watching. You might like these 4 other videos that I've actually made in the past, so why not give one of them a watch. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. See you later.